Welcome to the greatest roasts of all time. Now these teams, they overpromise so much and underdeliver, well, so much. I always flame the drivers, but that's gonna be put on pause slightly today because today is the roast of every single team. It's about time they get their shredding. Competing pretty much every single week in Formula 1 just to finish behind the Red Bulls. Now that is pathetic. I don't know what they're thinking.
Max Verstappen wins for Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen.
Now, if your name is Karen and you're more likely to bitch about things, then maybe get some help. Because this video isn't for the faint of hearted. This is going to be real roasts. Screw the Kendrick and Drake beef, no one cares about that. Roasting Formula 1 teams, that is way more important. With that said, in the comments, put your own roast down on certain teams which you dislike. And whilst you're there, you might as well subscribe and like. I genuinely don't know why you wouldn't, and it kind of makes me sad because you're not subscribed. So do it right now. Go now. I think it's best we start with the Nikita Mazepin of teams, and funnily enough, Nikita Mazepin actually raced for them. Oh my god, there's no way you're comparing one of the worst drivers in recent Formula 1 history to a Formula 1 team. Does that mean the team is that bad? It's that awful? What is the team? Well, if you have some sort of brain, you probably already know that I'm talking about the infamous Haas.
He does not fox smash my door. Tell him that.
In the 8 or 9 years that they've spent in Formula 1, they have had the worst mechanics, the worst drivers, the worst cars, the worst, well, everything known to humankind. The team's highlights aren't wins or podiums or championships like McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull. It's being featured on Netflix and being one of the worst teams on Netflix and people supporting them because they're that bad and they actually want them to do good for once, because they never do. You know, usually teams go into Formula 1 and expect greatness. They want to do good every single season. But for Haas, it seems like every single year is a write-off. Seems like their car is shredded into bits by their drivers and by everyone else in the team. In the constructors' standings, P10 every single year has their name written on it already. The trophy is engraved for the worst team, and Haas is on there. They afforded themselves one pole position, and that is the only piece of silverware that they have ever taken home. And it wasn't even silverware, it's just like a little tire. That's it.
Wow.
Throughout all the years, bad drivers have been attracted to this team. They're like magnets. When they arrive at the circuit, the car is nice, spankling clean. And guess what? It actually looks like a Formula 1 car. But after the race weekend, 9 times out of 10, it looks like this. And in recent years, they've picked up a grandpa as a driver, Nico Hülkenberg, and it seems like for the first time, they've actually made a good change in drivers. Dropping Mick Schumacher, well, that was a very good decision because, yeah, Mick Schumacher crashes, yay. But they've let their only good driver in, like, however many years, they've let him slip. He's going to a different team because he knows that Haas are a lost cause, and there's no way they're ever gonna... I have never seen a Haas fan, a Haas enjoyer, and the most clout they ever got was from Gunther Steiner slamming a door. Damn, that is sad. Now, if I were to say Ferrari to pretty much anyone on the streets, they'd probably think of this.
History.
And that's no surprise because the Ferrari name holds a lot of pedigree. It's a very important team in Formula 1. It's a very historic team. But the fact that they haven't won a championship since 2007 says a lot. The best team in Formula 1, and they've been employing clowns as race engineers, broccolis as team principals, and they expect to win a championship like that? Not only have they single-handedly ruined Felipe Massa's career, Alonso's championship hopes in Ferrari, and pretty much dumped Sebastian Vettel into the ground, and now Carlos Sainz? He's been ruined. And let's not even forget how the Tifosi feel after every season. Next year, guys, will be our year. And then after, they're looking like this. But at this point, I guess every single Ferrari fan expects disappointment. They go into a season expecting something good, but it tumbles down every single year. A team that won back-to-back championships is now in the mud. For the longest time, they're being dominated by Red Bull, by Mercedes, Aston Martin on occasions, McLaren. They've had every great driver in like the last 15 years, and they haven't managed to produce a good car for the longest time. But don't worry, next year will be Ferrari's year. Keep taking that copium, keep praying, and maybe eventually when you're like 65 and in a wheelchair, Ferrari might win something. Now, if you even think for a second that Ferrari have had a great and massive fall-off, you'd be, well, correct, because they have. But none of this even compares to the incredible fall-off of Mercedes. It's like Christopher Nolan could create a movie about this fall-off. It was that incredible. A team that went from winning constructors, championships, everything in a row, back to back to back to back, for so many years, have now gone to the track and been, well, literally driving potatoes. Ever since that treacherous day on the 12th of December 2021, things have really gone downhill for Mercedes. They were meant to bring an incredible car into 2022. It was trash. Toto Wolff said to everyone, next year the car will be better. Guess what? It wasn't. And now 2024, James Allison was meant to come back into the team, cook up an incredible piece of machinery, and actually battle the Red Bulls and beat them. But no, it's their worst car ever. This shit is so slow. They went from battling Red Bulls, Ferraris, to now week in and week out, battling the RBs, the Haases, the Alpines. It is pathetic. Not only have they lost Lewis Hamilton as a driver, Lewis Hamilton has lost faith. He's like, you're not going to produce a good car for the next 17 years. And is there a point in me being here? Not only that, George Russell, is he going to stay for much longer? I'm not sure. Seems like that team is just tumbling down into a deep, dark hole and isn't gonna get out for a while. They are genuinely a mid-team. Anytime I see anyone wearing something to do with Mercedes out on the street, I see them covering it up. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed. They don't want anything to do with, well, Mercedes at all, because they are truly shit. And not only that, they have also hired a terrorist as a driver, which isn't good at all, because terrorists, boo.
I would like to be a terrorist.
Martin Aston. Imagine you're so shit at Formula 1, you're so bad at driving that you're about to be booted out of the sport. I guess that happens to many drivers, but imagine your father buying a Formula 1 team and being like, well, I guess you can drive for me for life. You have a contract that will never expire. Heck, you can be 83, 4 seconds off the pace, and you can still be trotting along in my team. Well, that is literally the definition of Aston Martin. It's not a team to compete, it's a team that Lance Stroll can drive in and not be booted out of Formula 1. For their whole existence, they've had an incompetent fool as a driver, and that incompetent fool has been dominated by every single teammate he's had. Fernando Alonso absolutely pummeled into the ground like a Cherokee drum. Sebastian Vettel as well. In 2023, the time where Fernando Alonso was literally competing for podiums, wins, pole positions, Lance Stroll didn't even take a single piece of silverware home. There's paid drivers, and then there's being an absolute frauding little fuck. And Lance Stroll... The only thing good about that team currently is the fact that Alonso drives for them, and Alonso was clearly on the medications or drugged or had a gun held to his head when he said that Lance Stroll, the infamous Lance Stroll, is a championship-worthy driver. He was drugged. Now, joining the Red Bull racing team is literally a suicide mission. It's like walking through no man's land mid-war. You're gonna get shot, you're gonna die, you're gonna get griefed. Who are you gonna get shot by in a Formula 1 team? Who are you gonna get griefed by? Who's gonna ruin you? Well, it's none other than Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, with Max Verstappen as their little sidekick doing all the work for them. Why is it a suicide mission? Why is it awful? Well, because Max Verstappen does what Max Verstappen does best. Wins everything he can. And whilst he's doing that, you're going to be trotting along down in P5 and looking like an absolute clown. Perez is looking like a clown. Albon was a clown. Pierre Gasly was a clown. Fiat was a clown. And Daniel Ricciardo also, nearer the end of his stint of Red Bull, also was kind of looking like a clown. That second Red Bull seat is literally a death chamber. And the amount of careers that Red Bull has either ruined or nearly ruined is actually unfathomable. They might be winning everything, but they have literally a team principal that nearly went behind bars for doing some malicious things. And Helmut Marko also nearly got the death penalty. It's a pretty dark team if you think about it. Every single one of the Red Bull fans is literally a glory hunter. They weren't supporting them in their bad days, were they, in 2005 and 6? No. They weren't. This all came from 2021, 22, 23, 24, and not in the Renault days when they literally had a potato engine. That engine was pushing 25 horsepower, and it was literally slower down the straights than a snail. Alpine are a team that are pretty well known for being fucked in the head. Their only 2 championships came in 2005 and 6 when, well, let's be real, Alonso did put on a masterclass and absolutely spanked. And the only cold moments out of Alpine were, well, the times when Alonso was there. And ever since he left, the team has absolutely crumbled into the ground. From winning championships to, well, finishing 4th in 2022, respectable. Alonso was in the car, so I guess, actually good job. In 2023, they scored a couple good podiums. Fair play, to now 2024. They're having more issues than America has with Russia. They're slow as fuck on the track. They look like a snail, they look like a tractor. They're struggling to make it out of Q1, they're struggling to even score points in the race. And I guess Alonso is very over the moon that he left, because they are in the dumps. A team that has the worst management, a team that no one really likes. Have you ever seen an Alpine fan? Me? No. The team's had investors, Ryan Reynolds, this, that, and the other. And this is what they repay them for. Wait, what? This is what they show up to the track and do. It's actually shameless. I don't want to badmouth Williams too much because they are my team. They are the GOATs of Formula 1 in my humble opinion. Not only have they produced the nicest Formula 1 car ever, I mean, anytime I see it, I'm literally drooling, it's that beautiful. But in recent years, they have literally been one of the worst teams on the grid. And I'm not gonna sit here and just ignore that. From being one of the most successful teams in Formula 1 of all time, to now employing drivers which, well, their car looks more like a mashed potato rather than an actual Formula 1 car after every weekend. They've had Latifi, they've had Pastor Maldonado, they've had now Logan Sargent. The fact that he's had 2 seasons in Formula 1 is actually impressive. And them hyping up the 2024 season and bringing this to the track. Now, I'm sorry for anyone who supports Williams, but it's just kind of depressing. Like, you can't even properly enjoy the race. You can't even support your favorite team when, what are they battling? Thin air? Most of the teams on the grid have a rival, whether it be Mercedes and Haas, whether it be Red Bull and Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren. Williams, their biggest enemy is the gravel and the wall. And that's saying a lot. That deeply hurts and that cries me to sleep every single night. Fuck you, Williams. Do better, please. Please. Please do better, please. Actually, I was saving McLaren for last because I was going to say there isn't really much you can hate on McLaren, right? They're doing bits. They're the only team that could potentially contest with the Red Bulls and maybe Ferrari, but they're doing all right. Their upwards trajectory is going up, and that's good. They may have caused Fernando Alonso to retire and caused great depression for him, but looking past that, the team's good, right? I mean, it's the most basic bitch team on the whole planet. Anyone, pretty much everyone supports them, and their fans, well, let's be real, they only like them because they think Lando is good looking. They're making cringe TikTok edits of Lando Norris. It's just all freaky. It's like in football, saying your favorite team is Real Madrid, Barcelona, saying your favorite player is Messi or Ronaldo. It's the most basic thing on the planet. I mean, fair enough if you like them. You're the same as everybody else. It's a big boo-hoo-hoo. You support McLaren? Not surprised. Sauber. They have really sold their soul in many different ways. They've named their team kick Sauber. What the fuck? Kick? Steak? They're literally selling part of their soul to these weird and scammy little organizational brands. It's all a bit sad. A team that has never been good. They've never won anything, and honestly, thank the Lord that they're being sold to Audi, and maybe something out of the team will, well, come out of it. Because so far, they've been a back marker for so long, and it's just a retiring home for older drivers and a real talent contest for newer drivers. Single-handedly the most irrelevant team on the grid, with a livery that really does resemble Ben 10. Now, Ben 10 is cool and all, but this livery is not. Just an overall ass team happy it's being sold. For what the fuck is this? And finally, let's talk about Red Bull V2, RB. Who exactly are they? I mean, pretty much everyone in Formula 1, every team in Formula 1 competes in Formula 1 because they want to win a championship. But there is no way ever that Red Bull or RB are ever gonna win a champion, ever. Every single year they get scraps from the previous Red Bull car. They never design their own car. It's just a team that junior drivers get put into place to, well, if they're good enough, get into Red Bull, right? But the fact that this team is literally failing at its purpose of whatever it's meant to do. I mean, it was meant to bring up good talent into Red Bull. Carlos Sainz, well, he didn't go to Red Bull. Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon, what happened to them? Kvyat, what happened to him? Daniel Ricciardo, he left. And now Sergio Perez, he's not even from the Red Bull family. He's just, the team has literally failed at what it's meant to do. No matter that, there is no fans of that team. No one likes that team. And it's all kind of sad that Red Bull have two teams on the grid. Every single year, they pretty much one-up the Red Bulls in livery design, in everything, in on-track back. It's just a more entertaining team on some aspects. It's not a team that you're born and you're like, I want to support the RBs today. They're my favorite. Let's go RB. Unless you support Daniel Ricciardo or Yuki Tsunoda, then I guess fair enough. But I hope that team gets sold. Someone buys them out, because what the fuck? Anyways, that's pretty much it. Add your roasts down in the comments. I kind of want to hear them. And go ham. Please go ham. Don't be like a little pussy bitch. Go do it good. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and like whilst you're down there. Have a safe and fantastic rest of your day. Don't fall under a car and don't die, please. Anyway, peace.